Welcome everyone to this session. We're here in Catalyzing Change Week 2023, day 4. So I'm Maria Arizmendi. I'm based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm part of Catalyst 2030 Secretariat, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all here to this amazing session. I'm glad you're joining, and please feel free to share your name, your organization, and where you're connecting from, because we love this part of being able to connect with people all around the world. And before we start the session, I'm going to share a small welcoming video with some words by Juru and some highlights of our network.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week. This year's Catalyzing Change Week is about solutions from the front lines by social innovators.
In 2022, Catalyst 2030 concentrated its efforts on bringing proximate leaders and frontline solutions to the forefront. Collaborations led by members from the Global South produced groundbreaking reports on climate and transforming education, with an emphasis on offering local solutions. We continued our mission to create an enabling environment for social entrepreneurs to flourish by initiating a letter to donors, signed by more than 1,200 social entrepreneurs and innovators. The Catalyst 2030 awards ceremony was spectacular, and the awards themselves welcomed by the private sector, governments, bio multilaterals and donors.
Catalyst 2030 as a movement is disruptive.
One of the best things I think that's come out of Catalyst 2030 so far is incredible collaboration across the ecosystem that just didn't exist before Catalyst came into being.
The thing I love most about Catalyst is that it's an open movement for social entrepreneurs around the world.
I would encourage anyone who's looking to be more connected with their local communities around social development. Goals to come along to Catalyzing Change Week.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week.
Amazing. So again, thank you for joining us. Thank you to our hosts and panelists. And without further introduction, I leave the stage to Barsha.
Thank you so much, Mary. Hello and welcome to this evening's Catalyzing Change Week session around what helps our young people thrive, which is centered around Dreamer Dream's book titled aptly, When We Thrive, Our World Thrives, and the stories of young people to bring forth the enablers of thriving and through the voices of young people and how it really looks like in everyday life. I am Varsha Pillai. I lead Dreamer Dream's narrative building team, and today, I'm honored to introduce our young people who are charting their own thriving journeys. So say hello to Shahid Afreed, who identifies himself as a self-driven individual with a strong desire to make a difference in people's lives, which led him to start Hadi, an NGO, to provide free food, education, and mentorship to those in need. He's also a digital marketing specialist and web developer who believes in the power of technology to transform lives and is helping students succeed in their careers. Hadi's goal is to empower as many people as possible to reach their full potential. Also, a big welcome to Afreen, an alumnus of Dreamer Dream who lives in Bangalore and is a facilitator with Dreamer Dream at the Solomon High School. And her dream is to be a person who inspires others. I think you're already living the dream, Afreen, if I can say that. Please also welcome Dr. Connie K. Chunk, who has worked for 29 years in education as an educator, researcher, and a consultant. She has served as a Foster America Fellow, as the former Associate Director of Harvard's Global Education Innovation Initiative, and as a consultant to the OECD. In addition to co-editing several books, she has co-authored the recent report, A New Education Story. Last but not the least, we welcome Vishal Talreja, who co-founded Dreamer Dream along with 11 others. He has co-authored 4 published papers with Dr. David Pearson and Dr. Fiona Kennedy related to life skills in the Indian context, and is an active writer on education and development issues in India, an Ashoka Fellow, an Eisenhower Fellow, and a Salzburg Global Fellow. Vishal is a board member at Goonj. Previously, he was the founder and director of Unlimited India and a board member of PYE Global and India Cares Foundation. An executive committee member of Karanga, the Global Alliance on Life Skills and SEL, and co-founder of the Weaving Lab. Vishal has also been recognized as an architect of the future by the Waldstill Institute in Austria and as an Innovator of the Year in 2019 by 100. Now that we've introduced all the people who will be part of this conversation, I request Connie to start this conversation on When We Thrive, Our World Thrives. Listen in, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Varsha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for everybody. It was my privilege to work with Dream a Dream starting around 2016, when I was still the Associate Director of the Harvard Graduate School of Education's Global Education Innovation Initiative. And we were launching several studies about how to best prepare young people for a fast-changing world. And we were in our second study, which was about how do we support and build the capacity of educators who are supporting our young people. If we were to truly enable people to thrive, our capacity building for our educators have to be a little bit different. And then Dream a Dream was nominated by our other Indian colleagues who said that they were at the forefront in India as far as doing this work. And so through that connection, I was introduced to Vishal and other staff members and the participants of Dream a Dream. And over the subsequent years have gotten to really know what they do. And so we started this book project in 2019, and the book finally came out last year, and it documents the stories of 20 young people, 2 of whom are here with us, Afreen and Shahid, as well as 18 others who are recent graduates of Dream a Dream. And so Varsha asked me, to open a little bit about, talking a little bit about what I think thriving is. And I think the best thing that I can do is not tell you what I think thriving is. I think one of the most powerful things that Vishal and Dream a Dream staff do is ask young people what they believe thriving is. But I will say, I think thriving happens at different levels. I think there is personal thriving that we do for our own lives that we, have complete, hopefully, almost control over. And then there's relational thriving. How do we thrive in relationships with others, whether it's with our family or loved ones or friends, or at school, at work. So the people that we have immediate, contact with, what does thriving for that look like? What does thriving as a society, as our city, as our country, as our state, the jurisdictions and the governments that we all are, civil society that we're all part of, what is thriving, in that kind of space look like politically, civically, socially? And then I would also say thriving is also global. We are increasingly and even more so connected. And so what does it mean to be thriving at the global level in the ways in which both we are impacted and the ways in which we are impacting others? And then I can't forget the environment. We are organic creatures ourselves. We are living organisms, and we live in harmony, or we're supposed to live in harmony with other living creatures, whether they're plants or whether they're the sea animals or whether they are animals on the land, and everything else in between. And so how can we thrive? What is our part in the larger ecosystem that makes up our planet? So I just want to pose those things to you. And again, as the conversation goes on through the rest of the webinar, I believe Afreen, Vishal, Shahid, and others will talk about all these different aspects of thriving as it relates to their lives. So that's all I'm going to say for the moment, and then just hand it over to Vishal.
Thank you, Connie, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think our intention for this session was really around exploring this idea of what does thriving mean. Thriving mean for us as adults, and thriving mean for young people, and young people, especially those growing up in adversity and entering this fast-changing, complex world. We have had our own experiences of understanding thriving through the stories of the young people represented in the book. And we have Afreen and Shahid here who will talk a bit about what they understand by thriving through their own life journeys. For me, having been at Dream a Dream for 24 years, the facets of thriving have showed up very differently through the stories of many young people. One of the stories that I talk about often is about this young man who grew up in a very violent family background, and he overcome this violence, grew up, became a facilitator in a Dream a Dream program. And as he started working with other young people who come from similar adversities, and as he started observing that, he had an insight, a life insight. And he came up to me one day and he said, I want to share this life insight with you. And he said, when I was a kid and when I used to watch my parents fight, or when I used to watch my father become violent with me, my brother or my mother, I used to wait for the day when I would grow up and become big and strong so that I can stand up to my father. And then he said, but today I actually understand my father. I understand that probably he didn't get the love and care and respect that he needed as a child, because of which he became violent. So I have now a deep sense of empathy for my father. And my journey now is not so much about being angry with my father, but about understanding him. And through that acceptance and understanding, see if I can change his behavior. For me, this is one big aspect of thriving, was learning to accept each other for who we are, learning to understand us beyond just the behaviors that we show. And thriving for us is a much larger concept from the lens of education ecosystems itself. Again, education, largely in the world, but also specifically in India, continues to focus on academic outcomes, which is then defined by academic scores, ranking, exams. But we kind of broke that apart through our work with young people. And as we started watching young people grow up in these adversities amidst an education system that was highly reductionist and only kind of focused on children attaining knowledge through rote learning and memorization, leaving a majority of the children and young people feeling like failures, how could we redefine the purpose of education and redefine the success from education? So that led us to explore these ideas of beyond academic outcomes. Could thriving be about the number of friends or the quality of friendships I have? Could it be about how I'm showing up for myself? Do I have a sense of identity? Do I have a sense of who I am? And am I proud of who I am? And am I in the journey of discovering who I am? Do I have a sense of who are my support systems around me? My family, my community, my friends, my teachers. Do I have access to support systems when I am in trouble? Can I reach out and make a phone call to someone when I'm in an emergency? Do I know what my community's challenges are, and do I have the skills and capacities to show up for my community and support them? Do I have a sense of knowing when I'm going through emotional turmoil and what I need to do for my own well-being? So it actually expanded this whole idea of success and what success could look like. So it was not just a linear definition of I have to get out of poverty through a financial security or through a job, but broaden that getting out of poverty could also mean having access to housing, having access to finance, having access to support systems, having access to my own well-being systems, and having access to this much wider world of how I can contribute back to my community. And that's what we have learned over the years, and we've built pedagogical approaches in our work about how do we enable this for every young person that comes into our program. And we'll talk that through this session about what are some of those principles, those pedagogical approaches that we have developed, and we'll unpack those as Afreen and Shahid share the journey. So I'm going to move on to Shahid now. Shahid, tell us a little bit about your own journey of thriving. how that has been like. And the second part of the question, Shahid, I would love to explore is, when we interviewed you for the book, it was 2019. It was a whole different world for you. It's been 3 years now. We've gone through a pandemic. What does thriving look like for you today? And what are you doing, in your life today that's different from what we knew of in 2019? So Shahid, over to you.
Definitely. Thank you, sir. Hope everyone can hear me. Yeah. So, yeah. My journey with, the actual journey of mine started with Dream a Dream, to be honest, because during my school days, I was like, very shy kind of person, very introvert. Still I am, but not in that sense. Yeah, very introvert kind of student. I never used to speak to strangers. Not only to strangers, even though it happens like whenever you are in the classroom and you know the answer, but you hesitate to share. You feel you don't have that space to share what you have. When Dream a Dream, few facilitators of Dream a Dream started coming to my school, and and that's how my journey with Dream a Dream started. And then I felt like this is a space during my school days itself. I felt like these are the people who can give us that space, give us that confidence where we we can share our problems, where we can share share what we feel like. Then I started visiting the Dream a Dream Center after 10th standard. After my 10th, I was like 16 years old. I was searching for job. I I started asking for job. Nobody gives a job for a 16 years old guy here. That's I was searching for a job. Nowhere I found the job. Then honestly, I visited Dream a Dream Center. There, I still remember the mentor, facilitator, Melvin sir, who taught me Photoshop and this skill, because of which I got my first job. And from there, actually, my professional journey started. I started. My first job was in Art Flute, and 3,000 rupees was my salary there. And from there to Connie ma'am interviewing me after learning. So because that thing taught me, like, if you have skills, doesn't matter you are what age group you are, and doesn't matter how you interact. If you have a skill, the job, you will definitely find a better job to do, and people will hire you if you have a good skills. That thing triggered me, and I started learning different skills from there onwards, like Photoshop, digital marketing, web development, so many more. And I became I got certified from PMKVY as an hardware engineer as well. I never used my that skills, but then too I got certified from them. So that's how it started. I still see myself how I was, the way I used to dress myself, the way I used to speak, to my relatives as well. Dream a Dream, brought changes, literally brought lots of changes in my life, in my friend circles. I can say, this is what thriving for me started from nothing. After my 10th standard, when my father asked me to go and find a job, go and do something outside, and I was unaware, because my education is nowhere related to outside world. I don't know, what to do after my school days. So this is how my journey started, from nothing to lots of skills. Lots of people know me from because of my skills. Some people at some different colleges, they say me I'm a web developer. People say me I'm a digital marketer. People say me I'm a everyone knows me because of my skills. So that's how it started. And me and my family, used to be, only my father used to earn and at my home, and then I supported my family at very early age. Yeah, still my parents say that, yeah, still my parents say that, I would like to thank the people who taught you these things, and you started earning because of them. And I always say them the same thing, that it's because of Dreamer Dream. They brought the positive impact in me. And after after working for so many years, after working for so many years, after learning so many things, I 2 years ago during pandemic, I recognized, I felt like this is a time to give back to the community. Have a this is a time to this is the time where I can leave a positive impact on the people, on the young people like me. Yeah, that's how it started. And Dreamer Dream also gave me a chance to facilitate at Dreamer Dream Center to teach whatever the skills that I have learned, to facilitate and teach to the young people like me. I started teaching. That's how it started. And yeah, during pandemic 2020, 2020-21, I started my own NGO organization. I started. We started with. I thought like, I myself will just go somewhere. It was only the intention of doing something good to the community. I started, and I visited some of few of the local areas, few of the slum areas, places where was living. I visited those places. I started serving the food packets to them. And my friends who were with me, they noticed these activities of mine, and they said, why don't we form a group and we start doing more to the people? Then we formed the group and we started doing this. We started serving during pandemic. We served some 108 people, 108 families, sorry, but people, 108 families in Bangalore we served. And yes, so we started with 6 people. Now we have around 20 core members along with us who are working on this, and around 200 volunteers all over India. And we started working in one place. Now we have 4 different states actively working with us. So yeah, and I noticed that nowadays, what I feel for me, the thriving, this was the thriving journey. This was the journey of mine from started, and now trained. We have trained around 2,000 young people within last year 2021 to 2022. We have trained around 2,000 young people in different skills. We visited schools, we visited colleges, we visited different places, because it was intention that skills, other things that are lacking. And Vishal sir is, yes, he is my inspiration, that how he made a positive impact on for many young people's lives. Yeah, now everyone are making different impacts, and on the people there with me, people who were studying with me in the college days. Everyone are making different impacts, everyone are into different jobs now. If I'm making an impact, if I'm making good things to the people, if I'm doing a good deeds, people around me also follow the same, even they become the same. So I believe this is what when I within upcoming 5 years, if I'm leaving a positive impact around on at least 10 lakh people around me, then I call myself successful. Yes, currently, yeah. So currently I'm doing nothing. I've taken a break from my professional life. Yeah, I do freelancing. I'm still doing freelancing somewhere, but from my professional job, I have taken a break of 2 to 3 months. I'll go on trip. I'm exploring few new things nowadays. I think everyone have heard this growing technology of AI, Chat GPT everywhere. People are some people are panicked, some people are getting stressful, some people are lots of things going around because of this new AI technologies. But I believe some of the local community students also should know about this technology. They should, because this is the future. Everyone should adapt this. And currently I'm planning a project with the friends where we can do more and try to give an exposure of these technologies to the young people and the local communities, local schools, local colleges. And yes, this is what I'm doing currently.
Thank you, Shahid. So much more that you've done in the last 3 years since the pandemic. I'm going to come back to you with a couple of questions about your journey. I want to kind of create space for Afreen. Afreen, are you still here? Yeah, I can see you. So Afreen, what's been your thriving journey in the last, say, 7-8 years? Also, when I read your story, there's so much that you've spoken about in your story about overcoming failures, about building relationships, about finding your own sense of identity of who you are, but also maybe talk about what it meant for you growing up as a Muslim woman in India in the last 8 years, and how has this journey been impacted by that identity?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I have a very long journey with Dream a Dream that I live in. And right now I'm in touch with that God's grace. And being a young Muslim woman, it's, really very difficult to live your dreams in this community. When you have when you have your parents or anybody who can support you, then you can obviously live your dreams and you can achieve your goals. I was very kind of an backward person when I was in my school. I didn't know how to speak, how to talk. I was like a very chill. I was a very introvert kind of person. I was not ready to accept whatever was happening around me. So later on, I was like, no, why should I not accept whatever is happening? Let's accept what is positive and just ignore what's going on negative, because there were so many people around me who let me down, who tried to put me down and not to achieve my dreams and my goals. My mother stood up beside me to help me out to achieve my dreams. I got a lot of strength from Dream a Dream. I completed my graduation at 9th standard from Dream a Dream, and I was in disconnect with Dream a Dream for so many years, but I did not feel it was in person, but I did not feel that disconnect, because each and everything that I had learned from Dream a Dream helped me throughout. Because my father did not wanted me to study after my SSLC, but my mother, she was like, no, I will leave my, daughter to live her life and let her study whatever she wants, because she saw the community, how it was. And she didn't wanted me to bring up in the same community. She wanted me to, bring a change to this community. And in my second PUC, I remember I had a backlog. I got fail in my second PUC. And there were so many people who were like, what happened? We told you, you were not able to study. You will fail, and see, now you're here. And that really made me, feel very bad. And then I remembered so many of the things from Dream a Dream that I had learned, of not letting myself down, because that was the first goal that we learn in Dream a Dream: do not let yourself down or others. So that inspired me, that motivated me to come up and give my re-exam. And yeah, as soon as I gave my re-exam, I cleared my exam, and I went into my bachelor's degree. And I completed my degree. There were so many people who will put you down, but what I would like to tell is, like, it's okay. People are there to tell, but you do what you want, right? You achieve what you want and show people that you can do anything and everything. And I was the first woman to work in my entire family. And by the grace of God, and I would like to thank Dream a Dream in the most of the things. You know, I was the first person to fly from Dream a Dream. I was the first person to work as a young Muslim woman. And I was the first Muslim woman in my family to join NCC. And yeah, I have completed all my 3 years and I have completed my 3 certificates. Now I can even join army. So there are so many things that I have gained from Dream a Dream. Dream a Dream plays a very important role in my life. It has given me a drastic change of being a person who doesn't talk to anyone, and today standing in front of thousands and lakhs of people and, you know, talking very boldly and very confidently. So yeah, there's a lot of changes, and I have showed people, those who put me down. Now I tell them, they give my example to their kids now, you know. That is what something I feel that I have achieved something in my life, a very good, you know, name and a fame that I have achieved. And yeah, all that credit goes to obviously the Dream a Dream. Yeah, I shall continue to work the same and bring the same changes in other young women, other young Muslim women who can, you know, inspire other more people and bring a lot of changes in the community. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Afreen. Beautiful articulation of your journey. Connie, I want to bring this back to you. You know, as we hear Afreen and Shahid's stories, there are certain key messages that are coming out in these stories around self-identity, acceptance, not letting yourself down, not letting failure get to you, or contributing back to the community. When you were doing the research for the book and as you were interviewing these young people, what were some of these principles that came up, and how did they show up in the stories of the young people?
Yeah, I think one of the key messages that I've seen, not just in the Dream a Dream young people that I interviewed, that there's the 20 that I interviewed, but I actually work with, as an educator, over 1,000 young people when I was teaching, and since then have worked with, you know, dozens of other people. And I think thriving and resilience, we talk about resilience and grit a lot in this context of, you know, people growing up with adversity. And so if there's resilience and there's grit, then, you know, then they'll thrive. And I think that is true. But I think what is underemphasized is how much of resilience and grit comes in the context of social relationships and the relationships and the modeling that in Dream a Dream's case was modeled by the facilitators. And so for example, not Afreen, not Shahid, but another young person who was featured in the book talks about, you know, caring for her mother and then her mother passing away. And then it was actually Dream a Dream facilitators who accompanied her in trying to get, you know, take care of her mother. And then in the aftermath of her mother passing away, they're coming alongside of her and really being with her as she went through mourning and as she then tried to, you know, redefine what thriving looks like when someone who is so close to you passes away. And again, a strong theme that came out from that story and from others was the key role that people like us, people like Dream a Dream's facilitators who accompany young men and women, and the space that we can hold that is safe, that is without judgment, that is about holding back and letting them chart their course instead of giving them advice or giving them suggestions about what they could do, but really allowing them to look within, look outside, and what is it that I want to do? What is it that I require? And then helping them, you know, supporting them in other kinds of ways. So the research says these developmental relationships require showing care, which is what, you know, Dream a Dream facilitators did when this other young woman's mother was passing away. Provide support, which is what Afreen and Shahid both talked about. So if you want to be something, do something, you know, in Shahid's story, one of the things that I really resonated with was all the financial scholarships that Dream a Dream provided. And so as Shahid, dreamt up new journeys and wanted to be new things, there were skills that he needed. And Dream a Dream was able to offer even material and financial support in addition to, learning and other kinds of things. So that's showing support. It's also challenging growth. So not just, again, just feeling sorry or having empathy for everyone, which is great, but also saying, I see you, doing and, being things and leaders in your communities. And again, Afreen and Shahid's stories both, exemplify what that means. Not only were they led by Dream a Dream facilitators, but they in turn are now leading other young people. And with that, I only know that, there comes tremendous growth when you have the opportunity to lead other people and make mistakes and move on and learn and become better and all of those things. And so I think those, what research says are really helpful for positive relationships came back through and again through all of the stories that I had heard. And again, I think it's easy to say those words, but I think it's much more challenging to be consistently, showing the kind of care that Dream a Dream has shown in the context of Bangalore, by the way of their different programs, which, by the way, it was started as just an after-school program. And then as the graduates became older and as they saw more and more need, the programs built out in response. So the Career Connect Center, all the ways that, internships were provided, guidance was provided, scholarships were provided, came as their program participants grew. And so the organization grew, alongside the people that they were trying to serve. And I think as social entrepreneurial organizations, as change makers, as leaders, I think one of the best things that we can do to help us thrive, as well as, the people that we're serving, as well as our own organization, is to, have that ability to change and shift in response to, how we're keeping on learning. And so that's what inspires me about Vishal and Sucheta and, Varsha and Suchita, who are on, all the Dream a Dream people who are on this call, is that I'm seeing them continually evolving and changing and learning as they see different needs, they grew along with it. And I think that is also really a key aspect of thriving as well.
Thank you, Connie. That was beautifully put. I probably want to add just to, add some more pieces to what you shared, Connie, if I may. Some of the principles that we learned along the way as we started doing more work with young people, and our focus has always been on helping young people build the life skills and social emotional capacities needed to thrive in the world. One big discovery very early on we had was that young people learn best when we can create experiences for them, and experiences that are deeply transformative in nature. And what that means is that experiences that leave an imprint, not just in your mind and heart, but also in your body, kind of almost build a body memory. If I invite each one of you here in this group, go back and think about your own childhood and think about the times when you've had an experience that has left a deep positive impact on you. You would probably not be thinking about a class in the school, but you're probably thinking about an experience, a conversation that you had with a teacher, or an experience you had in the sports field, or in a theater program that you were part of, or a school trip that you went, or an experience of adventure that you had with a colleague or a friend of yours. We don't have too many of those, but when we have them, even today, when you go back and remember those experiences, there's something that shifts in your body. You probably get a shiver, you get goosebumps, butterflies in your stomach, the memory leaves a smile on your face. Now that's a transformative experience. And we discovered that the more transformative experiences that we can create in the lives of young people, the more we're creating in them memories of positive experiences. The use of pedagogical approaches that bring play and art and theater and music and poetry and different art forms are the best way to create these experiences. Second, as Connie has already pointed out, young people, when they have at least one adult relationship that's based on trust and care and empathy, it's a game changer in the lives of many young people. The thousands of young people that we work with on a daily basis receive messages like, you're useless, you're good for nothing, you'll never achieve anything in life. Like Afreen shared in her story, the number of times she was said that she's never going to do anything important in life. When you grow up with those messages, the sense of identity you pick up is that of failure. But if you can have at least one adult relationship where there's acceptance, there's validation, there's this sense of, I believe you, I trust you, that can be a game changer. And in the work that we do with our facilitators, in the way we train them, is really focused on this idea of how do you show up for young people with your absolute authenticity, with your absolute care, with your absolute empathy, with absolute dignity for the young person, and supporting young people in those journeys. And the third principle that we discovered along the way with young people is that we cannot plan for when young people's transformation will happen. We cannot say Shahid will have a transformative experience at the age of 14 because of this program, or Afreen will have it at 16 because of this program. Because young people's journeys are unique and they have their own journeys of healing and their own journeys of thriving, our role is not so much to design a one-size-fits-all approach, but to support them through those journeys and create as many opportunities for transformative experiences to happen. And when the transformative experience happens, is something that the young person themselves will know. Now, for Afreen, it was probably at that moment in time when she failed an exam. For Shahid, it was that moment in time when he was trying to figure out what he wants to do after his 10th grade and he couldn't get an answer. And then you discover something, right? And the last principle around that is that young people will feel when they have a transformative experience, will know it in their body, but they might not have language for it. So through the work that we're doing, when we create spaces for reflection, when we create spaces for expression, that's the time when young people start building language for the transformation that they're having. And we take the same pedagogical approach also to teachers and educators and adults that we work with. We have now worked with over 35,000 educators across the country. Now, if you go walk into a typical classroom in India, in a public school, and ask teachers, how many of you believe you are creative? Only one or two teachers will put up their hand, and it'll typically be an art teacher. But we know teachers on a daily basis in the way they show up in classrooms are being creative. Now, the journey from a belief system, a self-limiting belief system that I don't believe I'm creative, to I believe I'm creative, is where the transformation occurs. And once an individual reaches that place where they believe that they have a new belief system now, an example being that I am creative, or in Afreen's case, believing that I can achieve anything in life, or in Shahid's case, believing that I can also contribute back to my community now as a social entrepreneur, you can't go back to your old belief system anymore. And it's our role as adults to get young people to move from a self-limiting belief system to a positive, progressive belief system about themselves. So these are some of the principles and pedagogical approaches the Dreamer team has integrated into its design that have been reflected through the journeys of the 20 young people featured in the book that Connie has written. Connie, anything you want to add to that, or should we open it up for questions? Afreen, Shahid, if anything you want to add to that. Connie, yes, go ahead.
No, I think opening it up to questions would be really great.
Great. So feel free to put up your questions or reflections for any of us.
There's a really concrete one. That's how do we get hold of the book?
Okay, so Shushmita is going to share a link on the chat again, and you can just go into that link and purchase a book. There it is. Yeah, Suchita shared one.
Maybe we could ask the audience, what are the things that enable you to thrive, and or what are the obstacles currently in the way of your thriving?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Nidhi probably has a question or a reflection, and then maybe Nidhi, you could also answer what Connie is asking.
Yeah, I'll ask Connie that question again, but I'm sorry I joined late. I was finishing another call, which I couldn't miss. Trying to get help to a girl who's suffering from abuse and not getting the right counseling help. So sorry, but
You've gone on mute, Nidhi. Sorry.
just hear what Vishal is mentioning, and it is so powerful. It is so simple, but it is such an important thing. And I've been attending other sessions, and sessions like this, which kind of gives you that little things, little tiny steps you can take, little ways of you can behave, and you can have a transformation. And the last call I had was something like that, a rural girl who I could show that I believe in her, and it's okay for her to not take this step if she's not comfortable, and it's her right to be happy and feel safe, and we'll do in our best. So it just kind of ties in. I'm glad to have discovered Dream a Dream, and would love to know more at an appropriate time. Not take the time from this group. So I'll pause there for others to share whatever they wish to share.
Yeah, no, thank you, Nidhi, and thank you for the way you're supporting this young girl and showing up for her, whatever final choices she makes. I know she knows that you're there to support her and accept her.
Yeah, but totally, I agree that this should be taught in schools, and I'm a Kendra Vidyalaya product, and not every teacher showed confidence in every student. And we know every student has a gift, every child has a gift. So would love to learn more about the program later.
Absolutely. So yeah, anyone else would like to take on Connie's question?
So I like to first congratulate you. It's been so inspiring. And from my point of view, well, I come from a family that has always taught me and supported me. Anything you dream of, you can do it. But at that time, that I didn't realize that was also an obstacle for me, because then when difficult situations happened, I understood that I hadn't developed fully all the skill set that I needed to really thrive in challenging contexts. So at that point, I became super conscious of all these beliefs that I had and how the world goes. And I always love it when you're working on your personal leadership, your self-awareness, and then you can use that, like Shahid, you were mentioning a lot the skills and how you use the skills to empower others. And I feel that's super important. One of the challenges I see with that is that maybe we see it as a given thing, and not many put the focus on the part of the training, the things we can train if we gain consciousness, if we try doing it. There are a lot of enablers around us, but I feel we don't cherish that much, and that it's something that's not so commonly shared. So I want to see if, from your experience, you have any tips or advices on how we can inspire others to be more enablers to the rest.
So Mary, you're throwing a question back at us. Thank you. Maybe actually Shahid and Afreen can answer this question. What would you like? How would you like adults to show up for young people? Afreen, Shahid?
Okay,
Yeah, Afreen.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go. So what I personally feel is, letting young person do whatever they want, but in a good way, and giving them that freedom of living their life and taking their own decisions, and uh, have a conversation with them, and make them feel that there is nothing wrong to live your dreams and to live your life in your own way. Because see, in the early age, when you let them take their own decisions and let them lead their own life, then only they can, in the future, they can lead their independent life. If not, it will be very difficult for them. See, all of a sudden you keep them in a room, you teach them whatever just you want, and suddenly all of a sudden you bring them back to the world, they'll be like, what is happening? So I just want the adults to understand young people, what they are going through, and leave them to lead their life independently and happily and take their own decisions on them. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Afreen. Shahid, do you have anything to add? How would you like adults to show up for young people?
Yeah, we honestly, I can see in the, especially in the local community that I was living in, like more of a don'ts were put in instead of what to do, and what would be the result of those don't, and what we what happens if we do. Our adults, when they only say, when I was very young, they only used to say like, what this these things you don't have to do, these things you don't have to do, these things you don't have to do, and few things they asked us to do, but we don't know the purpose of it. And I believe what I feel is we should have that space where we know the goal, we know the steps to reach that goal. More than don'ts, we have do's with how Vishal sir said, there is an experience. When we create an experience, we learn a lot. Yeah, this is what I say. We should know that do and the purpose that we are doing. Yeah.
Thank you, Shahid. We're just about getting close to time. Connie, you want to bring it in with the closing?
No, I think, well, I guess I can, which is, again, like, I think thriving is this happening community. So I'll give a shout out to Mary and Catalyst 2030 for creating a community in which, social entrepreneurs and others can also connect like this and thrive together and learn from each other about how to thrive. I think thriving is imperfect. One of the things that we write in the book is that I think life is a journey that has its ups and downs. And so it's not as though like I have everything figured out. I have all the skills and I have all the connections and I have everything. And so now I am set and it's going to be good for the rest of my life. I think everybody goes through ups and downs. And so when you are in a down place, to have somebody that you can reach out to. When you're in an up place, reach out to other people who might need your support and encouragement. And so I think, just again, as somebody said, these things are very simple, but other things get in the way of doing this. And so if we can keep it simple and be mindful of these very simple things, such as reaching out and connecting, as Nidhi and I know Vishal will do after this call, and as Afreen and Shahid and others will continue to do, and as Barsha and Suchita and others from Bring a Dream supports the thriving of even this book. There is so many people went into, both the publication and now the publicizing of this book. So I, again, am so grateful for the community that I'm privileged to be part of with Dream a Dream and then with Catalyst 23, and know that we are all, in this kind of web of mutuality, as Dr. King said, from the United States. And so, yeah, I just hope that we continue to connect and that we continue to, again, support many more other young people to thrive in schools, in their families, in their society, and whatnot. And so, yeah, grateful for everybody. Thank you for being here, making the time, and I know that that's echoed by everybody else as well.
And it's on my hit list now. I'm going to India soon, and this will be my go-to gift for all the family and friends. They're going to get a copy of this book.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you, everyone. Again, just resonate everything Connie has said, and over to you, Mary.
I just wanted to thank all of you, as I said some minutes ago. It's truly inspiring, and I can see that coming from the questions, the reflections, the smiles. And as Connie said, keep it simple. I love that. I'm going to take that with me and incorporate it. And keeping it simple, I'm not going to share. I just want to tell you that Catalyst 2030 is a global movement of social entrepreneurs and social innovators. And we're all here with one goal, that's to advance the SDGs 2030. So we have organizations from all over the world working in the different SDGs. And the way we try to think about it is from the collaboratively and co-creative mindset, and always thinking about systems change. So if you're interested, I'm going to put the informative session link, because tomorrow we'll be talking about what Catalyst is. And for more information, you can always reach out. And the last shout out is to say, if you're inspired by this session, please also share in your social media or share with your friends. If there's a quote that resonated with you, if there's a concept that you're taking, just as I'm taking the keep it simple, the goal is also to spread the word and to inspire more, as Shahid was saying. And if we get to inspire at least 10 people, we'll be successful. Afreen, I see you have your hand up.
I just have a small thing to share. This was going on in my mind as Connie ma'am had, dropped the question of, obstacle to your thriving. So what I feel is, sorry if I'm taking it long, I will just finish it in a short time. So what I feel is for letting us do whatever we want, rather than thinking of what others care, let you yourself do what you want, then only you can see the world change, and you can inspire most of the people change. And lastly, I would like to thank my mom and my fiance. You're standing in my support for who I am today, and seeing that change in me by myself. Yeah, that's all I would like to tell. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for giving me this opportunity to be here and to share my story to the world. Thank you, Dream a Dream.
Thank you, everyone.
Afreen. That's a wonderful
Have a good day,
way.
good evening. Yeah.
Bye, everyone, and hope to see you in other Catalyst 2030 sessions. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.